blessed. So
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for taking the time to jump on with us today.
mhm.
I'm super happy to have you here, and we will be under 30 minutes, I promise, because I know there's a lot of
Okay.
work to be done and there's a lot to do. But for those of you who don't know, and I know Chris is not the one for to brag, but he's absolutely crushing right now. How old are you, dude?
I'm 28.
28 years old with an M3 and a Lambo. I don't know many other people that have
Yeah.
achieved that at your age, which is pretty impressive. But they're out of Denver,
Mhm.
and for like I don't know, the only person on here that probably really knows you is probably Evan and Austin if he actually showed up today. There he is, dude. There he is.
My dog.
But this is actually a pretty cool story that you guys have. So, can you kind of give everybody a backstory of like how you got in the business and
Mhm.
kind of a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into the training.
Yeah, for sure. So first and foremost, like I said, out of Denver, Colorado. I dropped out of college. I started pursuing sales right away. So I was in the wireless industry, working at a phone store, just selling cell phones at a cell phone store. Did that for about 7 years. Now, back in COVID, so Zach Trudowski's assistant, Jordan Valdez, her and I went to high school together. And that's basically how I heard about the business. So it was through Jordan Valdez, which her husband now, I mean, it was like one of my good buddies. We did a lot of business in the past together. And like one day in the garage, like we're working out during COVID, whatever, with my buddy Seth, and she's like giggling on her phone. And I'm like, what's so funny? I'm nosy. She's like, oh, just like these sales guys, they're just, doing some big numbers or whatever, something like that. I'm like, okay, like what are big numbers? And she told me, which at the time was actually Wiley, came to find out that he had his first like $30,000 month. And I think it was like his first or second month. And I'm like, oh, crazy. Like, how much of that does he keep? She's like, well, his commission rate's about 100%. So 30,000, 75% cash advance. She explained how it worked. And I was like, holy smokes, man. I'm like, that's crazy. But mind you, that was in COVID, didn't take action for another 4 years. Right. Because I've been in the business now for a year and I think 2 months, somewhere in that range. So I started in like mid June of last year. Basically was in corporate, did really well there at, like I said, at the cell phone company. Just got to the point where I was just tired of making the same money. I was always making six figures, but it was never, I was just never increasing. It was always like stagnant. So that was like a big issue for me. And then finally push came to shove. Ended up getting, connected and whatnot in the industry. And it's been a crazy ride, man. It's been a blessing, a lot of hard work. But it's been fun. So pumped to be here.
That's awesome. So, like coming from a sales background, do you think it helped you at all, or do you think it like hurt you coming into the business?
Little bit of both. So first and foremost, I mean, everything that I did was in-person sales, right? Which I guess in the old model, when right, I mean, you guys were going to like people's homes, I would probably done really well.
Hmm.
But with this, I was always super coachable from the beginning, just because it's a completely new industry. Like I said, I was like one of the top producers nationwide for that cell phone company for 7 years straight. So I didn't come in with ego actually, which definitely helped me out. But I just didn't know how to sell over the phone, right? I didn't know the importance of tonality. I didn't know how to like convey messages over the phone as well as in person. So it was definitely different. I would say that it helped me in the sense of I knew I wasn't going to be good in the beginning.
Hmm.
And I knew that I had to learn from the top producers, which that's exactly what I did.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it definitely helped just knowing like, hey, I'm gonna get my butt kicked, and then eventually I'll get good if I just stick with it. So yeah.
Absolutely. Now, what has been your biggest month as a producer, and then
Mhm.
what's been your biggest month as a builder?
Yeah. So biggest month as a producer, I sold 55,600 or something. And that was running a sales team that month. I think we did 250,000. Biggest team month was last month. Chubb's not in the system. Yeah, I did the numbers that we did a little over 380,000. And I think, I don't know, everybody's week five is a little off. So hopefully we have 400.
Oh,
But yeah, definitely at a minimum 380,000 last month, which was pretty cool.
that's crazy. And you're structured really well, super profitable. But
Yeah.
like starting from zero in this business, because we have a lot of really new reps that have just gotten the business or kind of like in the early stages of like selling at a high level and building at a high level. Now when you first got into the industry, what are some things that you immediately implemented, like leads, lead spin, CRMs? Like what are some things that you did to be able to go from zero to like 55 grand in a month in a very short period of time?
Yeah. So the first thing I did was, like I said, I just wanted to learn from everybody who's succeeding in the industry. So at the time I was like, okay, well, I need to learn from the best salespeople. Like, so who sells the most, right? And the person I connected with the most at the time was Harold Durana. So he sells a lot of mortgage protection. And I just watched his videos on repeat every single day for, I mean, like months actually. So all of his verbiage, all of his mannerisms, I started just copying those things. And in my sales calls, I mean, they started to work. So
Hmm.
the biggest thing in the beginning was just learning how to sell. Like, okay, like I have my script, right? I mean, I have my script all the time. I still use a script. Like I definitely, I'm like super strict on that. Um, the scheduling side of things has always been extremely important for me as well. Basically, when I came in, I was working in an office, and you know, whether you're in Zoom or an office, I think both are great as long as you're plugged in. And the
Hmm.
top producer at the time was a Hall of Fame producer. His name was Jesse Wagner, and he was basically my competition. He was like the guy that I wanted to beat, to outsell. So being in like that environment was extremely critical. Just, you know, always asking for help, being super humble. I mean, those have been like some big keys. And then when it goes to lead spend, you know, everyone's like in this industry is super transparent. So I'm like, cool, dude. Like Jesse, like, what are you spending on leads to sell? His best month was 62,000. He's like, dude, I'm spending about 2 grand a week. So I'm like, okay. So if he sells 2 grand a week, obviously his skills a little bit better than mine, but I could start to. That was like the first month I had over 40,000. It was like 48,000, I think.
Hmm.
So I just started listening to people and just, you know, putting the schedule there as well. Now on the front end, you know, coming into a brand new industry, this is kind of more related to people who are brand new. I had to make this work. I didn't have a second option. You know, just my bills at the time personally were like 6,000 a month. Um, and so I had to produce. So like my first 60 days, I worked every single day. And that's just what I decided to do. All right. I don't think people have to, but it like depends on the results that you want. So I worked every day for 60 days straight, got through my learning curve. And then from there, you know, started selling, you know, 30 plus every month. I mean, since then, really.
Yeah, I mean, like the key takeaways that we've been trying to hammer on the last 3 weeks during like these series of interviews is like, don't wait for someone to tell you what training to watch. So go out there
Yeah.
and educate yourself outside of like work hours, outside of dial time. So you
Yeah.
are basically teaching yourself how to sell life insurance, asking good questions, and then doing the right activity to get mentored, basically,
Yeah.
right? And then
Exactly.
also like having, we're all super competitive, and I think we do better when we have an enemy, for lack of better words. So like
Yeah.
you found someone that like, hey, I want to like beat this dude, and then you
Yeah.
did whatever you could to like create a situation in your head, even if he didn't know about it, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like,
Exactly. Yeah, and I think you hit on it on the dot when it comes to like the training. I mean, having like a running partner, whoever that is, I mean, that's always great to have, you know, kind of like somebody to shoot for. Like, all right, dude, like who's the top producer in the office? It's, you know, Calvin, he sells the most. Okay, so like I got to beat Calvin. Like, I don't know, I'm just a competitive person.
yeah.
Now on the flip side of that, you know, you touched a little bit about like don't wait for to be trained. I mean, I think that is huge. If you want to be good in anything, right? I mean, you got to train. Like, so I was pretty fanatical in the first 60 days, and I still am, you know, with the audiobooks I listen to, the people I learn from. It's just like kind of a different, I'm not learning how to sell as much now, which I know I could sell more. It's just that's not my focus. My focus is on building and, you know, creating a massive sales team.
Mhm.
So like looking at like at that schedule and that time frame, like all my waking hours were learning about life insurance. So I got really fanatical to where, dude, I meant like I love the gym, but like I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to Harold Durano, or I'm listening to Easton Patton's closing calls, his objection handling, you know, just all these FFL videos and podcasts, and just digesting all that information, and it's going into my scripts, going into my sales calls, and you know, just I mean, I eat, sleep, breathe insurance for a long time, and I still do. So I think that will, like, if you want like a hey, dude, you like figure it out for sure, like do that, I would say. But you know, if you want some good results, then I mean, you're gonna have to work for it. So
Now, as a manager, as you're leading your sales team, and you're watching like different producers kind of come up through the ranks, is there something I know what I've noticed that's different between the people that sell 15K a month and the people that sell 40K a month outside of like skill and schedule? Is there anything else that you can see that would be different for like between a 15K producer and a 40K producer in terms of like what they're buying per lead or what
oh
type of
yeah.
lead they're getting or like what do you think
It
about that?
Yeah, so I mean, a couple things. It typically is almost always like let's say all schedules are equal. It's typically just lead flow. I
Hmm.
mean, it was the same thing in the wireless industry where we had busier phone stores. it didn't mean that. I mean, some of these guys would sell way more phones than the next guy, but they weren't like more talented. It's just they had more traffic. So it's the same thing in this industry where, okay, if you have more leads, even if you suck, you take the laydowns. If your closing percentage ratio is not that good, like you're going to sell more than the next guy just because you're having more, people to chat with and talk to and sell life insurance. So I would say that's always like a huge thing. Um, and the cool thing too, like as a broker, right, when you buy leads as well, I mean, like it's your money, it's you have skin in the game. So right, you put a big lead order in, I mean, it's you're going to sell more. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, I'm not in the business of losing money. You know what I mean? So like if I put a big lead order, I'm like, okay, well, I just spent 2 grand, 3 grand, whatever it is, I'll spend 10 grand in the week. I don't care. Like, and then it's like, all right, well, now I got to sell. So it's always good to have that fire under you. So.
How long do you see like people that are willing to like try to become a 30, 40K, 50K producer to wait to buy leads? Are they buying leads like week one? Or like what are you pushing your guys to do and what did you do?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we run a little bit of a different model with Ty's team. So we have like a lead assist model where basically, like we're at a lower compensation rate and then we're closing those deals. But as soon as like you start closing your own deals, like I mean, you're going to be more profitable as a broker. Then, like I said, when you start putting skin in the game, you're going to start leveling up a lot faster. Because you also have more ownership of your business because you're actually invested in your business. So I think that's really big. Yeah, I mean that's the thing though. It's like just for like a 30, 40K producer, like yeah, like Ty taught me really well where he's like, hey dude, like if you want to become a successful broker, like no matter what, you have to put a lead order in. So for me, I put a lead order in every like Thursday or Friday. So I would get a ton of leads over the weekend. And he's like, all right, dude, like let's say you have a bad week, whatever that is. Like if you had a week where you didn't sell as much, like that Thursday, that Friday, you still put a lead order in because then you need like the consistency, the lead flow. And I mean, in this business, you hear it all the time, lead flow is cash flow, right? If you run a pizza shop and well, you don't sell any pizzas and your tomatoes go bad or your cheese goes bad, well, guess what, dude? Next week you still got to buy cheese. Like, I don't know. It's very like, just very normal, I guess. I mean, when you put it in layman's terms like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like basically from going from 0 to 150, which I find people struggling the most at, and is arguably the hardest part of this business to build the foundation. What are some things that you did early on to be able to get a really strong foundation to get, because people that are producing, 5, 6, 10K a month are super unstable and very volatile to stay in the business or get out quickly because
I
of
agree.
chargebacks and all that kind of stuff and leads. So like what'd you do early on to build producers up to build a strong foundation to be able to grow from like 150 to 300?
Yeah. So, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, it always goes from like leading from the front, actually like doing what you're teaching, right? So I think, first and foremost in the beginning, like you need to learn how to sell as a top producer. Like if you want to be a good manager, like, I mean, like yourself, Kevin, I mean, you've sold Hall of Fame many times, right? So that's where it's like, okay, like you got to walk your walk, you sell 30 to 40,000. And, the thing is like that helped me is I was always just extremely transparent. Like, I mean, you could go on my past stories. It might even be on my highlights where it's like, hey, like first 30K month, first 40K month, hey, this is what this actually means. Okay, let me be transparent. Okay, how much money did I actually like net? Okay, this is how much I netted. And just being extremely upfront with that because opportunity is amazing. So it's if you're able to show like, hey, yeah, you can have all these things that might people might deem valuable. I don't know, watches, cars, all this crap, whatever it is, freedom. It's just like followed up with like, hey, this is the schedule and the work ethic that is required to do this. So I was extremely transparent from the beginning. I've always been super transparent from the beginning. Um, so I think that's where, people would come in or whatever the case is. I'm like, hey, dude, like you can make $0, or you could also be like this 20-year-old kid in our office. His best deposit month was 76,000, netted over 50,000, and he's a degenerate, like crazy kid. So I'm like, this is what's available, but you got to put in the work, right? So even from very, very early on, validating the model, selling, and then, helping everybody who's actually like working, right? So setting the correct expectations up front, then helping those agents, sell, get their first couple sales. And it's like, all right, dude, like the belief is there, okay, hey, you got to plug into the training and doing all that stuff with them, right? I think that's
Mhm.
incredible, super important. And so here, me, like I'm always in the office. Like there's not a day that I'm not here, except for now. I don't come on Sundays, but now I am actually. So anyways. It's just like this whole thing where I'm like you want to do what you're teaching, and then help the people with the proper expectations. And I think that's what kind of got us from, and of course, a few key guys, like a few guys could change everything. Like I had another buddy of mine, his name's Nick. He sells like 50 G's a month. He's really good, like VP leg now. He just hit VP, but like him and I also like ran together, but we also ran the same schedule in the beginning too. So when I was selling 30, 40, he's like, oh, what's Chris doing? Oh, we're meeting the cleaning ladies at the office at night. Like, okay, we're staying late, we're doing the work. So I think that's important to set a good example for all your guys.
Now, you guys have done and created a really good culture with an in-person office sales team, which
Mm-hmm.
I think gives everybody, like if you have an office, it gives you an upper hand to be able to get in person with some
Yeah.
people. How has that helped you guys scale, and how has that helped you be able to help producers early on in the business
Yeah.
with creating good structure, schedule, and consistency on the phones?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important. I mean, I always use the example, just my own personal example. So one day, right, I think it was my first week, second week, whatever the case is, I already closed a few deals. And Jesse Wagner, my competition, whatever you want to put it, he had a $7,000 day. And like I remember at the time, I'm like, man, this sucks. Like I think I'm gonna go home for the day. And I just see him like writing up on the board, like putting all his. I'm like, man, what does he sound? So one day he comes in. I'm about to leave, and he comes in. He's all smiling, and he's like, I'm like, dude, what'd you sell? He's like, well, 7,500. I'm like, dang. I was like, your commission rate's 120, right? He's like, yep. I'm like, all right, let me keep. So I stayed on literally the next. I think it was the second dial after that. I closed my. It was like my biggest deal. It was like a $5,000 deal, but like if I was at home or if I wasn't on Zoom, or if I wasn't in an office, like I wouldn't have made that sell. So I think just a rising tide raises all ships, right? If you're in a good environment, people it's competitive. There's people who are crushing, doing well. People are willing to help. Like, why wouldn't you take advantage of that? So I think it's been an absolute like critical thing for us. I mean, and two, then I get to coach my guys in real time. They get to hear me close deals. Maybe they don't like how I close a deal, but they might like how Jesse closes a deal, or Brandon Senna, all these other guys who are in the office who are doing well.
Yeah.
So I think it's been an absolute like critical. Like without it, I mean, I don't have a massive virtual team. Like I think our team virtually we have like right around I don't know, it's $60,000 of business outside. So but like even for those guys, like they're plugged into our virtual trainings, you know what I mean? And there's self starters. So I mean, it's been very important, I would say.
Now, as a producer and as an early manager, like when you're sub 300,000, what like set we always call it separation Saturdays in Austin, but like whenever you're early on in the business, still working towards Hall of Fame, still working to become a VP, how did you convey your team and how did you get yourself to be able to make sure that people were dialing on Saturday so that way they could set themselves up for success
Mhm.
and set themselves up to get ahead of everybody else? Like that's
Yeah.
like the way that everybody sells the most insurance, in my opinion. So like
Mhm.
how do you convey that and how do you set the presence for your team to be able to make sure that they have the tools to be able to do that?
Yep. So first and foremost, I think it's always, like I said, I mean, I was always taught from early on, like, hey, we work at minimum 6 days. If you need to put a seventh day, you put in seven. And in the beginning, like I said, I, kind of back against the wall. I had to work seven. It's just what I had to do. So then that's what I did. But like, so we just worked every day Saturday. I don't know. And that's just the thing. That's the expectation when people come into like, hey, like Calvin, if you want to get good, you want to figure this thing out, you really want to do XYZ goal that you're talking about. This is the work ethic that's required. And the cool thing is you can work as much as you want. So if you do want to work on Sundays, everything else, you can, whatever the case is. So first and foremost, it was just doing it, and it's just what we do, right? So if like I don't know, here's the thing too: if someone comes in at like rolling in at like 11, 12 o'clock, like I don't know. There's also kind of a culture where it's like what are you doing, dude? We have 8 a.m. training at 8. Like it's kind of weird, you know what I mean? So and people don't want to be the odd person out either, right? So they attend to the trainings. Most of our agents are here from 8 to 6, 8 to 7 ish, sometimes a little bit longer, just depends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's where the transparency is key, right? So in the beginning, I'm always like, hey, dude, this is what I had to do because I actually sucked really bad when I started. I had to work every single day. So giving that to every single agent, like top producers, they work Saturdays. Like you want to sell Hall of Fame, like and you want like a sure way to do it. Well, have a good lead spend, do your script, go to all the trainings, do everything that you can do, and then also work, the weekend. Um, and like I said, that's just what we do. I mean, I don't, I think I mean, I could probably count on one hand the amount of Saturdays I've ever missed in the last year and 2 months, maybe two, maybe three max. Like I don't. That's
Yeah.
probably for some serious stuff. Like I don't know.
That's huge because I mean, like, if we've had a lot of different levels of producers on here, and managers as well. And like that's the common pattern, if you guys haven't picked it up on it yet, is they train themselves outside hours and they always pretty much do separation Saturdays. And that's the easiest way to get ahead in the beginning. I personally remember working 7 days a week my first month as well, just to get ahead. And then also, if you guys don't know this, but Q4 in the life insurance space is always the biggest quarter every year, year over year, because people are coming back from the kids are in school, so people will have more time. Summer's over, and then Christmas is coming up. So like for me personally, I don't know about you, Chris, but every single October I would work literally 7 days because number one, you get a fat producer bonus if you do it.
Yeah.
So like every October, I'd always sell like 79, 80K, something like that. And then
Mhm.
two, it pushes you ahead on the leaderboard because I'm naturally super competitive. So like even if like the leaderboard didn't mean anything, it still meant something to me. And so like I would always try to shoot for like top 20 in the company. And like October is your time to do that because other people might take their foot off the gas around Thanksgiving and Christmas time. But if you do all of the work in the beginning, like front loading it, like you do with your schedule in October, then you can still take a couple of those like important days off, but you already did all the effort in the beginning,
Mhm.
which puts you ahead. So like that's why I think Q4 is so important. Now, with like the last few minutes that we have left, is there anything that maybe that you could tell somebody that is within their first 90 days of the business that would maybe change their situation or help them be able to sell more insurance or do something differently than maybe they're already doing now to make sure that they are in the business more than 90 days and they don't become part of that like 92% that fail?
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot. And I mean, the main thing for me, I mean, it always kind of came down to like really kind of two things. I mean, the biggest thing of all of it, it's always like, why? Like, why the hell are you doing this, man? Like, why do you want to work in life insurance? Like, when I was growing up, I wanted to be like a football player because my dad, he was an ex-NFL football player and stuff. So, like, I never dreamed and aspired to sell life insurance. But of course, the results, I mean, they're pretty freaking sweet. So I would say like first and foremost, it kind of comes down to that, like why are you wanting to do this? Like why do you need to make 20, 30, 40 grand, 100 grand a month? Like whatever your goal is, like why? And then going relating back to the schedule. So me, you guys could probably tell, but I have like some ADHD where I'm like all over the place. So I was talking, it was actually a John Wetmore. It was like a John Wetmore training where he's talking about like tracking everything. Like, dude, if you want like to make sure that you have the correct results, like, dude, track everything. So track that also goes into your schedule. Like, okay, how hard are you actually working your schedule? Okay, a dial. He says like if you're actually working 40 hours in your business, like are you just chilling at the office for 30 hours, or are you actually working doing something productive? Um, yeah, he was doing I think an interview with Easton with that one, and it just really helped me out. I was like, okay, like man, I know I could lock in more. So really, kind of came down to scheduling a lot. Scheduling because the skill set was after the learning curve was definitely I would say more or less there, but then it was just about dialing it in. Okay, how do I structure my day? That way I could be most effective with my time. That's the stuff. And I don't know. Like I said, I mean, obviously, I'm very grateful for everything that's happened, man. This thing has absolutely changed my life. And so the other flip side of that is I would say it's like it's worth it for sure. I mean, whatever your goals, dreams are, I mean, dude, like go fucking get them. I mean, they're literally right there on the table. You just got to work and do it. Like we didn't like I promise you, I did nothing special. It's just I work pretty much every day. So like, Calvin, I mean, you probably attest to that too, dude. I want a house like yours. You know what I mean? So like, I'm like, dude, like we all have the same opportunity. So like, just can just work for it. You know what I mean? So that's all.
I think that's awesome. And we'll open it for questions here in a second. But like the number one thing, guys, is that the money is real. Like this is a real opportunity, and it's up to you to be able to grab it by the horns and like make something happen. Because if you don't, you're gonna be pushed. It's gonna like slowly fade away, and you're gonna come back and be like, "Dang, I really like missed my opportunity here." Because like you're one person, you're one Chris away from building a really big team. Like you're one more Josh Harris away from building like a massive organization. And it's impossible to grow something and build something extremely profitable on your own. You need people to help you through this process. Like I'd rather have a small sliver of 100 people than a big sliver on one person, which would be myself. Like you need to build with other people. And like Austin might hate me for this, but it's totally true. Like he was like a part of coming bringing you into the business, dude. And
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
he would have never like introduced you to somebody or like had that conversation, like you wouldn't be here. And
No.
he like wasn't at the right place at the right time to like to put you on to put him on yourself on his team. So he gave
Mm.
you to somebody else. But like that's like $1 million like net at the end of the day that was missed out on, dude. So like at the end of the day, like you just have to be super intentional with people and get them introduced to other people in your organization, and they'll help you build a team. You just got to like do the work. It's free to recruit, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. I totally agree. And like one other thing too, kind of on that note is like even if you feel like you're not ready, like I promise you, someone in the organization is right. Whether that's elite it yourself, like I mean, there's people there that are always going to be willing to help. You just got to do the work, and I mean, the help is always there, man. I've in this industry has been the man like a godsend to me, to where I'm like, dude, if you just work hard and you ask right, like the good questions, all that stuff. Like I have a personal relationship with like Harold now and stuff like that because it's like I don't know, my old company in corporate America, it's not like that. Like having like yourself in an office where you're crushing, like having East in an office where I know how much. I mean, he told me how much money he's making. I'm like, holy crap! And I can just talk to this dude at any time point, and he's not like a douchebag. I'm like, this is super cool. So I don't know, man. It's super neat, super neat.
Well, does anybody have any questions for Chris real quick before we wrap this up in the next 3 minutes? Just come off mute. You don't have to type it in the chat. Just pop off mute real quick. Jared, we can't hear you.
What's up, Chris?
What up, dude?
Good on, man.
Not much. Uh, with everything you do outside of selling, like drilling, trainings you watch, like what are the things that has done probably the biggest impact outside of just normal selling, just training wise for you?
In relation to sell more, in relation to building a team.
Yeah, in relation to sell more.
Okay, so in relation to sell more, so I liked finding all the top producers. So, right, I mean, you well, not anymore. The IP report or leaderboard is down, but I just like went on YouTube and I found okay, who sells the most. And at the time, I was running mortgage protection. The number one mortgage protection seller in the entire company is Harold Durana. So I was like, okay, well, Harold Durana is okay. Let me like look at his stuff. Is it duplicatable? It is. So then I listened to all of his YouTubes, which I mean, dude, there's tons of them that everybody's interviewed him. So that's what I did, and I just started mimicking it, pretty much everything. I mean, I have my script, don't get me wrong, but like there's certain word tracks that he would say. It's like, yeah, we're only going to do something if it makes sense financially. We're only going to help you. We can't hurt you. Sound good? Okay, got it. So like, there's just all these different things that you're going to get from hearing phrases and different things that top producers are saying. So I would say just find someone that sells your lead type at an extremely high level. Listen to their trainings, those YouTubes. Like you're going to get information that gets out of them.
Appreciate it.
And then yeah, and I also just reached out to those people too. So I'd also be like, hey, dude, like I was like the fly. I'm like, hey, Jared, dude, if you sell more than me, like I want to know if I want to sell, the exact same amount of you. So I'm like just asking you questions, and then yeah, then going to like all the sales conferences and trainings too. So like ignites, like all that stuff, like it was pivotal too, because then also the business became real to me. And then talking to those guys in person, I mean, that was also a big differentiator as well.
Sure. Anybody else? We got time for like two more questions.
Hey Chris, thank you for sharing, man. Can you give some tips on how to structure yourself when you're first starting off?
Structure as far as like building a team, what do you mean by that? Or is like schedule, or what do you mean?
Yeah, kind of like building your schedule around the day, to be more successful, like you were saying. Do you have any tips to like how to start structuring yourself? That makes
Yes,
sense.
yes, sir. So the schedule that I ran, I mean, this is just the schedule I ran. Obviously, like I guess David, I mean, do you have like kids? Like what responsibilities do you have throughout the day?
I don't have any. I'm 18.
Oh, eight. Okay, dude, sweet. So like if you're 18, I mean, and are you in office or are you virtual?
Remote
Remote. Okay.
or virtual. Yeah, yeah.
Sweet, cool. So then, for example, if that is the case, I mean, I would structure like your time, I would time block your dial blocks, and I would work as much as you can, right? So what I did is I had something in the morning where like, okay, I want like good stuff where then I could also practice with people too to kind of get the first like jitterbugs out through the day. So I don't know, you could find some person to be like a running buddy with you. So then if like let's say Dave, you and I were chatting on, our intro, hey, throw me some objection Dave's on the intro. I say my intro. I'm just trying to get all that stuff in the beginning of the day, getting some good quality training in the morning. And then when I hit my first, like I start dialing right if I don't have any appointments, I'll start dialing at like at 9 a.m. But you can even start at 8 a.m. Right? It depends on whatever your schedule you want to run. But like that time frame, like when you're dialing, you need to have like zero distractions, especially if you're virtual. I don't know if you have dogs, cats, this, that, the other, get out the house. Maybe you need to go to a coffee shop, whatever the case is, wherever you can be put in structured and focused work. And then just stay like relentless with that. So, okay, if you decide you want to work 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, I mean, if you're 18, you have zero responsibilities. I mean, dude, might as well rip off the band-aid. Like, let's go for it. That's what I'd recommend, based off the results that you want to have, right? So that's what I would do. And then, of course, if there's other things you need, like structure in the day, but yeah, dude, I would get pretty adamant about like time blocking everything. Um, and yeah, I mean, doing that. So, I mean, if you do time block, I mean, 30-minute increments, 15-minute increments, if you want to get pretty crazy about it your entire day and actually just follow the schedule, you set alarms, whatever that you might need to do. I mean, I think that could help tremendously.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, that's 30 minutes right there. Thanks, Chris. I
Cool.
really appreciate you jumping on and doing this for us. I always get something out of it. I hope everybody else got something out of it. It's super important to get on these calls, to learn this stuff. Even if you think you know it, I guarantee you'll learn something new, or you'll hear something that you need to hear for that week. So I appreciate you, bro. I expect nothing but like great things to come for you the rest of the year. You'll probably be over 500, 600 grand by December, but we'll race.
Oh, yeah.
We'll keep the race going.
100%, dude. I mean, yeah, we're at 400 right there this month, dude. I think we might hit 500. We'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty sure we're going to do it. So, putting it in the air, putting it out there. So,
It's out there. I'll make sure to put it out there as well. But thanks, bro. I appreciate you.
yes,
And if
sir.
you need something, let me know. Thanks,
Heck
guys.
yeah. Appreciate you guys.